The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
The next story, which is out of Baby Gaga, says unusual vision problems in late infancy can be a sign of autism, which doesn't seem like a surprise to me. According to new research, unusual vision spectrum of objects by babies over the age of 9 months may be a sign of autism.
Yeah.
They considered infants aged 6 months old who had older siblings with autism spectrum disorder, making them at higher risk for ASD. They also evaluated 58 infants whose siblings were neurotypical, making them low risk. And they had the babies perform a simple task to observe the different ways they play and engage with objects. Things like the baby's eye contact, overall social responsiveness, and how frequently the baby smiled at others were measured.
Yeah. They also looked to see if they spun any of their toys by throwing them or
tossing, spinning. Yeah. They define spinning as dropping, tossing, or manipulating an object in order to make it spin or wobble.
Yeah. And here's what I find super interesting. There are a lot of studies right now that are taking advantage of the science that we know, which unfortunately is that if you have one child who's on the autism spectrum, your subsequent children run the higher risk of also being on the spectrum. Now, that's for those of you who are having a second child or a third child or a fifth child or whatever, that can be harrowing for you. The good news is that there more and more people are looking at how, because if we already know that these kiddos are of interest, then let's look at them and see if we can capture what are the telltale signs that end up being leading to the diagnosis. Because if we can do that, then we can start earlier, and we can. In some cases, they're able to catch autism as it's beginning to develop the disabling aspects of it, and they're able to shore up those skills so that that child doesn't get behind, which that's the whole ball game, right? If you don't get behind, then you're good to go. You don't want to get to the point where you're losing skills, because this is a time period where so many things are happening in the brain, and the brain is growing. You don't want to lose those skills. So I love this because we've known, Nancy, it's the duh around the world, right? That there's something that happens visually that I don't know about Wyatt, but Jem had this thing where he would look at everything out of the corner of his eye.
So would Wyatt. Wyatt would do motions with his fingers and look at it out of the corner of his eye.
Yeah. And what we discovered with Jem later on, much later, when he was like 10, we took him to a developmental ophthalmologist and realized that his eye muscles would only focus when he brought his eyes all the way over to the side. Mm. So, and for other kids, it's other things. But if we know that that's, a symptom that's going to end up, being a telltale sign, then we can start earlier. So I find this really remarkable that what they did was they evaluated 58 infants, 89 infants aged 9 months old who had older siblings, and then 58 whose siblings were neurotypical. And a large portion of the kiddos ended up, I think, there were 58 of the children were classified as low risk, 72 were deemed high risk, and 17 were diagnosed with ASD. That's a pretty high percentage, I think. And especially identifying those that were at higher risk and watching them closer. Again, the takeaway is that if we can see symptoms early, you can start intervention early. And all of the studies say early intervention is the key. So I think that it's We had on the show, was it last week, 2 weeks ago, talking about the Gemma project. If you have a child that's on the spectrum and you have a new baby and you're hearing this and you're like, how am I going to, watch for the symptoms? Right now, they're taking participants for the Gemma project, and you can have your baby be a part of the study so that your child can be being watched by professionals. And if they show signs, then they will be referred to expert help. So that's a pretty exciting thing. But anyway, I think that the eye thing, I can't wait till they find out why.
Yeah, I know.
Why that's the thing. Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.